Welcome to Wired to Be Rich, where wealth isn't just money. It's memory, it's healing, it's truth, and sometimes it's the hard truths we've buried the deepest that free us the most.
She's not just a podcast host, she's a movement.
Manda is teaching people how to break cycles and build real wealth, mentally, financially, and spiritually.
People all over the world are waking up to her message.
Wired to Be Rich isn't just a podcast, it's a mindset shift.
She makes you believe again in yourself, in your power, in your ability to actually have the life you always known was meant for you.
Hi, everyone. I'm Manda Lee, entrepreneur, speaker, and founder of Balance and Destiny, and this is Wired to Be Rich. This isn't an episode I planned, and it's a bit different than what I normally do, but it's time I purge. This is me, finally telling the truth I didn't even know I was ready to even say. I had a dream the other night that I walked into this freezing cold, cave-like space, and when I woke up, I just couldn't shake it. I just couldn't get the dream out of my head. And at first, I didn't understand what it meant, but now I do. That cold place wasn't random. It was familiar. The cold was the energy I was raised in. That cold was my childhood. That cold, it was my mother. I didn't grow up feeling emotionally safe. I didn't grow up feeling like someone was paying attention to how I was doing. I didn't grow up with someone checking in on me or nurturing me or reminding me I was loved. I grew up with someone who criticized me constantly, who made me question myself, who made me feel like even the smallest parts of who I was somehow wrong. I didn't grow up with warmth or protection. I grew up feeling like I had to perform for love, like I had to earn it. Like, be helpful, be quiet, be nice, be easy to deal with. That's the version of me who survived in that cold. That's the version of me who never got to really rest. And in that dream, I realized I went back to get her. The version of me that was left behind, the one who had no one, the one who had to carry everyone else while silently wondering who would carry her, the one who was trying to be good enough for people who didn't even know how to love her. I brought her back, and I didn't shame her for anything. Not the friendships, not the relationships, not the patterns. I didn't pick her apart for the way she showed up in the world. I just held her, and I told her the truth. You are not crazy. You're not broken. You were never the problem. You were trying to survive. You were trying to be loved. You were doing the best you could. What hurts the most is that no one ever told her that she didn't have to perform. No one ever told her she could just exist and still be enough. That she didn't have to be useful or quiet or pleasing just to be kept around. That she could take up space. That she could be complicated and loud and real and still be loved, that she didn't have to be the strong one. She didn't have to be the emotional support system. She didn't have to be the mirror for everyone else's crap. She could just be, because she is love. And now she knows that, because I know that. And let's be clear. I grew up with a mother who I felt like didn't like me. She may not have said those words, but her energy said it every day. The way she looked at me, the way she talked to me, the way she criticized everything I did, even the smallest things that had nothing to do with her, like what I ordered at a restaurant. She never protected me emotionally. She never made me feel safe to express myself. I wasn't nurtured. I was managed. I was tolerated. I learned early that love didn't come from just being myself. It came from shrinking, from being quiet, and from making sure other people were okay first. Now that I'm older, now that I'm more whole, now that I've become someone I'm proud of, now she wants to be close to me. Now she wants to call, to be around, to act like we're best friends. But she wasn't there when it mattered. She didn't raise this version of me. I raised myself. I had to become the woman she couldn't be for me. And I had to do that inside a house that made me feel like my softness was a weakness. So I hardened. I got strong. I became self-sufficient, but deep down, I was still craving a kind of love that felt safe. And because that was my blueprint, that same pattern followed me into my friendships and relationships. I kept attracting people who felt familiar, right? People who reminded me of home, not in a good way, but in the quiet, subtle, painful ways I couldn't see clearly at the time. I had friends who only loved me when I was available to help in some kind of way. When I said yes, when I was emotionally and physically giving. But the second I had a need, the second I pulled back, the second I was just like, no, I was too much. I was dramatic, or I was selfish. That word flew around my childhood. Like, if I had $1 for every time I heard that word, I'd be a millionaire. I was selfish. They'd start acting cold, distant, or competitive. That's a big one. Some of them didn't even celebrate me unless they felt like they were on the same level. Some of them only supported me when I was struggling, because once I started doing better, once I started standing on my own, I could feel the shift. And I know a lot of y'all have felt this too. Their tone changed, their energy got weird, and it hurt me because I kept thinking, why do I have to stay small to be loved properly, or just loved in general? And then there were the relationships. Oh, the relationships. I dated men who wanted the version of me that poured out, held space, and kept it all together. Men who just always needed me for something. Always just wanted me for something, but never really even knew me. They knew what I did for them. I chose people who were emotionally unavailable, who made me feel like I had to constantly prove my worth just to be chosen or make them feel whole. People who didn't ask how I was really doing, but had no problem dumping their chaos onto me. And I took it because I didn't know I deserved more. I thought love meant showing up no matter what. I thought being needed was the same thing as being valued. I thought if I gave enough, eventually someone would give it back. But that's not love, y'all. That is survival. That's a little girl trying to recreate something familiar because it's the only language she's ever known. But I forgive her now for not knowing. I forgive myself for not seeing the pattern sooner, for staying in spaces that didn't feel good, for over-explaining, for dimming my light just to keep people close. I understand it now. I see the root of it, and I'm done repeating it, because now I know what it feels like to be at peace. I know what it feels like to not explain myself. I know what it feels like to be in my own presence and feel whole. And I'm not chasing love, friendship, or attention that cost me my self-worth ever again. That version of me that thought she had to earn love, she's not running the show anymore. She's resting because I've got her now. And even though it hurt, even though I went years wondering what I did wrong or what was wrong with me, I see now that it made me resilient. It made me perceptive. It made me powerful. It made me strong, smarter. I had to learn how to love myself in the absence of nurture. I had to teach myself softness after being raised in survival. I had to become a woman who doesn't just chase healing, she embodies it. And truthfully, I'm not mad at her anymore. I'm not holding rage in my belly, hoping she sees what she did one day. Because now I know. She did the best she could with what she had. And I can still love her and honor what she lacked, even if it wasn't enough at the time. It doesn't mean that I have to carry the weight of that anymore. I'm also not mad at my younger self either. There's nothing to even forgive, but I forgave her anyways. Might as well. Not because she failed, but because she fought. She kept searching for love in all the ways she knew how. She sought friendships and partners who could give her what she never got. And it's unfortunate that most of the people she encountered couldn't. But that was never her fault. She was never the problem. She was just trying to find warmth in a world that kept giving her cold. And now she's not searching anymore because she's home, in me. I'm done performing daughterhood. I'm done showing up in ways that make other people comfortable at my own expense. I'm done being emotionally available to people just because we share DNA or history. That's not enough. Not anymore. That's not reason enough to keep giving people access to the most sacred parts of me. I'm not interested in relationships where I have to constantly regulate myself, tiptoe around someone's mood, or shrink to keep the peace. I've done that my whole life, and I'm not doing it anymore. I'm done being the person people call just to unload their problems on. I'm done being the one who always holds it together, the one who listens, the one who carries everyone else's weight while nobody checks on mine. I'm not a dumping ground, and I'm not a backup plan, and I'm not a life raft for people who only reach out when they're drowning. I want to be seen, not just needed. I want to be celebrated, not tolerated. I want people around me who know how to pour into me the same way I've spent years pouring into everybody else. I want friendships that feel reciprocal. I want relationships that feel grounding and safe. I want to be around people who actually like me, not just the version of me that's useful to them. And I'm allowed to want that. I'm allowed to require that. And I'm allowed to say no to anything less. So no, I'm not mad at my mom. I've let go of the idea that she'll ever become the version of her I needed growing up. I see now that she didn't know how to be what I needed. She didn't have the tools or the awareness. And maybe she still doesn't, but that doesn't mean that she gets to bypass accountability just because I chose to do the healing. That doesn't mean I owe her closeness just because she wants it now. Her security is not my responsibility anymore. I'm not here to make her feel okay about what she missed. I'm not here to comfort her through my truth. I'm not here to downplay what happened just to make the relationship easier to navigate. I'm done sacrificing my peace to make someone else feel better about how they showed up or didn't. I don't want to hide anymore. I don't want to shrink, censor myself, or downplay who I am just to make other people feel more comfortable. I've spent too many years doing that, being palatable, being digestible, trying to not to make too much noise, trying not to take up too much space. I'm not doing that anymore. I want the world to see me. I want the world to hear me. I want the world to feel me. Every piece, every layer, every version of who I am now and who I'm still becoming. Because I've spent enough of my life being invisible in plain sight. Enough of my life being useful, being convenient, being safe for other people to be around, but not fully received as a human being. I'm not hiding behind the quote unquote strong black woman energy. I'm not performing emotional labor for people who wouldn't lift a finger for me. I'm not playing small so people who aren't doing the work can feel big in comparison. I'm not apologizing for how powerful I am. I'm not softening my edges to be more likable. I'm not watering down my story, my voice, my truth so it doesn't ruffle feathers, because if my truth makes people uncomfortable, that says more about the way they're living than it does about me. And yeah, some people are going to have a problem with this. Some people are going to hear this version of me and not recognize her. They're going to say I changed. Some people may be like, oh, you're overreacting because it's triggering them. They're going to act like I'm full of myself now. But the truth is, I'm just not full of them anymore. I'm no longer carrying their projections, their expectations, their disappointment, their silence. That's what they miss. Not the real me, just the version of me that made them feel better about themselves. I want my voice to be loud. I want my presence to be undeniable. I want to be so in alignment with who I really am that people who try to make me feel small can't even look me in the eye. I want to walk into rooms and take up space on purpose, not because I'm demanding attention, but because I exist. And that's enough. I want to be known for being honest, for being raw, for being someone who finally stopped abandoning herself. I want people to hear me speak and feel like something in their own soul just woke up. And I know that's what I'm here to do. So if you feel me, good. If you don't, that's fine too. But I'm not going back into silence to make anyone else feel safe around my truth. The world's going to see me. And if it pisses people off, let it. And if you're listening to this right now and it feels close to home, I want you to know something. You are not wrong for feeling how you feel. You are not too much. You are not broken. You're not crazy. You're just finally remembering the truth your inner child had to bury to survive. And today, we came back for her or him. Not to blame, not to rehash, but to finally say, you made it. And now I will never leave you again. There's something so sacred about this moment right here because I no longer feel the need to explain myself to people who refuse to understand me. And I no longer feel the guilt of walking away from dynamics that made me feel small. To my younger self, I say this now and I declare it. You don't have to search anymore. You don't have to beg for love or shrink for attention. You get to shine, you get to scream, you get to live, and I will protect your light with everything I've got. This is Wired to Be Rich, where we're not just chasing money, we're reclaiming our wholeness, our voice, and ourselves. If this episode cracks something open in you, good, let it. Let it move through your body. Let it touch the parts of you that never had words. Let it remind you that you are not alone and you were never crazy for feeling the way you felt. If you feel seen, say that. If you feel lighter, breathe that in. And if you feel like someone in your life needs to hear this, send it to them. And if this touched your spirit, leave a review and let me know. That's how this message grows. That's how we make sure the ones still sitting in silence know their voice matters too. I'm Manda Lee, and I'm not hiding. Not now, not ever again, and neither should you. I'll see you next Tuesday, but for now, shine. Even if it pisses people off, especially if it pisses people off, because your light is not up for negotiation anymore. I will see y'all next week.